Hi there, listeners. We here at BrainDeath would like to remind you that everything we say here is just our opinion, bro. There's no need to get your knickers in a twist over what comes out of our mouths. BrainDeath also contains mature humor, adult themes, and a good deal of foul language. Listener discretion is definitely advised.
Hello and welcome to BrainDeath, the podcast that ruins your faith in the fandom. I am your host, Big McLargehuge, along with my co-host, Gristle McThornbody.
Hello.
Unfortunately, our third wheel here, Mr. Sivel, could not be with us. He's feeling a little bit under the weather. But,
Basically, the gigantic German faggot isn't here right now because he drank too much, like a colossal douche.
Sivel, that's only an excuse if you're Scottish. Racism.
No. Like my German foreign exchange student once told me, hating someone because they're French, German, Italian, or whatnot isn't technically racism. That's called prejudice. Get it right, motherfucker.
Well then.
But let's continue despite the absence of our third wheel here.
Tonight is kind of a special night. We're doing something that Josh has been wanting to talk about because it's something he actually knows about. So we won't be scarring his brain. We're going to give him the chance to kind of have his little go off.
I guess you could say that. Hadn't really thought of it that way, but Ed's still going to be kind of leading the call along tonight, even though it's just me and him. But tonight we're going to be discussing people in the fandom who have managed to fuck the fandom over. Now, we're talking, the type of individual that is standing around at a furry convention and sees a reporter standing around trying to get a little bit of a story on what's going on here in Pittsburgh today. What's the SantroCon thing? And then you get this one individual that comes up and feels like they have to stand in front of the camera and tell everyone exactly what furry is, and the instant they do so, they completely fuck the fandom over. We're talking about that guy tonight. Or that girl, rather.
The guy where you stand on the sidelines and listen to him describe furry, and you're just like, no, why are you letting them film this?
Yeah, pretty much that. And there's no shortage of subjects to cover in this regard. We have at least four main subjects to touch on, and I'm sure there are plenty of other good examples of this goat fuckery. But, yes, before we jump into the meat of our podcast and the dipshits that have fucked up the fandom, we have one other topic. But Ed...
Alright, so, moving on from jackass over there, I don't want to spend any more time on him. This, I found it, God, a while back. It is a petition to reinstate Alan, aka Lupine Assassin, on furaffinity.net. For those of you who don't know, which I'm sure is a very, very small minority.
I mean,
Alan... Huh?
I was going to say, how the fuck can you not know who Alan is? I knew who Alan was back in 2010 when I didn't even consider myself a furry.
Basically, Alan scammed the piss out of a bunch of people. He claimed homelessness and all this other bullshit, and then when people donated to him, oh, surprise, he's got, thousands of dollars worth of furry commissions that just suddenly appear out of nowhere. And he did this multiple times, and finally Dragonair was just like, ha ha ha, fuck you, dude, and perma banned him from FA. So this petition is to reinstate Alan, aka Lupine Assassin, on furfinity.net. It has been nearly 5 years since his ban. He has since righted wrongs and paid dues. He's working very hard to earn back the trust of the furry fandom, and it hasn't been easy for him in no uncertain terms. If you would like to see Alan reinstated on FA, please sign this petition. Let me break this down for you. Basically, this guy got banned 5 years ago from a furry website. He has spent 5 years trying to beg his way back onto a furry website.
This guy. Now, I might spend more time on the subject than I really should. Ed probably expected that, just
Yeah.
because of the fact that this individual, and we're not going to do a full segment on him like we are with the rest of the 4 people we have to discuss, but he is one of those people that has made a colossal shit stain on the furry fandom. Okay, back in 2010, I wasn't even a furry, in my opinion. I was just someone who liked to draw werewolves. But even I, at this point, had heard about Alan. Um, this individual, like Ed was saying, scammed a shit ton of people out of their time and their money. And, like Ed was saying, oh, I'm homeless, someone please donate some money to me, all this good stuff. And then suddenly a shit ton of commissions of his character, Lupine Assassin, a black wolf with a red bandana on his head, would just show up, like not even paid for. And oh yeah, Myron's got a good point. You can't forget the headphones because he always has these big, thick ass Beats looking motherfucking headphones on his character, and he's
He
musky.
had him before Beats. He's a hipster.
Yeah, and at one point he just kind of gave up on whatever the fuck it was he was doing when he was scamming people and whatnot. He went into the military. I believe it was the army. Got into basic training, made it a couple weeks in, and
Fell out.
he injured his leg in some way, shape, or form, and dropped out of basic training. Which, shit happens. It's basic training. It's not easy. Whatever.
It's when he ran around calling himself an army veteran.
That was the cool part. That was the part that fascinated me. So he hasn't even made it through basic training, much less been deployed to any part of the world besides fucking Georgia or wherever the fuck they shipped his ass to be quote unquote trained. Um, and he religiously referred to himself as, Ed was saying, a veteran, an army veteran. And when he was drilled for this bullshit and called out on it, his defense was, well, at least I had the balls to actually try and go into the military. Most of you guys wouldn't. Um, um, dude. You didn't.
I tried.
I was gonna
I'm
say.
bipolar. They rejected me.
It's ROTC. I mean,
Yeah, I did all 4 years of ROTC, hoping to go in like as an officer, and turns out
you're bipolar. Get fucked. Wait.
Yeah.
So it just killed me. I'm sitting here. Oh, yeah. And Iron's got a point. He says a lot of military furs jumped on his ass for being a dipshit. Fucking good.
As they should have.
Yeah, I'm not even military. I've never actually been in the military. I've thought about it, but we'll see where college takes me. But even I was just offended by that dipshittery. I was like, okay, so I'm doing my best to become a functioning member of society and get my education, and you're going to sit there and tell me that I'm lamer than you because I don't have the balls to attempt to join the army and then fail miserably to do so. I just uh, so this guy has been petitioning Dragoneer, and if you go to Encyclopedia Dramatica, there's a whole article about him. It's quite an amusing read. I encourage you to do so. That was probably the first article I ever read about furry dipshittery on ED. But they've also got logs, chat logs of his conversations with Dragoneer, and in these conversations, he's trying to get Dragoneer to, let him back on FA. Please, please, Daddy, let me back on.
He reminds me of the kid in the video, Mom Takes Away Fat Kids GTA 5.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty much that. And if you haven't seen that video, I encourage you to go
I
look it up.
recommend it.
Yes, it's very good. um,
And it's
but
very short.
it's very
so.
short, not even 30 seconds. Worth your time. Um, but he's just begging Dragoneer to let him back on FA. And Dragoneer, in a surprising show of good decision, good judgment rather, Dragoneer is just like, you've scammed countless artists out of a shit ton of money. How about, fuck you? And to this, Lupine Assassin responds with something along the lines of, fuck you, you're a fucking nigger, and just ends chat. Like, literally, almost verbatim. He just straight up calls Dragoneer a fucking nigger and just quits. It's glorious. So, now we've got this fucking petition to try and get Lupine Assassin, Alan, whatever you want to call him, back on FA. And,
Some of the... when you sign this petition, you can leave a comment. And I want to read some of the comments to this, because they are fantastic.
that they are.
We got Barry Goldberg, who says, I barely know him, but this seems to be an unnecessarily long grudge, so I signed it.
No other reasoning is given besides that. Just, hey, it's been a long time, so I signed it.
Wayne Deering says, let Helen back in the sight. He has atoned for his sins.
I love that one. Like,
Alan L. says, this guy's been nothing but trustworthy to me.
interesting name.
Uh-huh.
I love the one by Jasper. He's a great guy, and 5 years is a lifetime. Seriously, let him back.
5 years, lifetime. Yep. I think the logic there is, of course, furry logic. I'm betting Jasper's longest relationship was, 6 weeks.
Yeah.
We've got, good God. We've got Malleus the Bear. Let Lupine back on. He grew up, learned from his mistakes, made it up to those he wronged. He's a better man than he was years ago. I wouldn't associate with him if he wasn't, that's for sure. He's my partner in crime of this sort in the music business. The guy is someone you want on your team of champions. You hear me, Dragoneer? Let go of the BS past. Allow him back on Fur Affinity, dude.
That one just...
We've got Nolasky, which this is one of my favorites, aside from the 5 years is a lifetime comment. Nolasky says, so, someone said he stole 16K earlier.
Oh, God.
I remember him telling me that he earned that money working for a park. I signed this petition to declare bullshit on the false charges against Lupine Assassin. At least a retrial.
That one just... I what? I can't even make heads or tails of it.
basically, he still, people are saying he stole $16,000 from the fandom, which I believe. And he's going on Lupine Assassin telling him that he earned the money working for a park, mind you. So, of course, that means that that's the truth.
Obviously. I mean, he was working for a park. Nature. Animals. Yay, furry. I, uh, I think the only... Yeah, there's just not much to say about that besides just letting the autism that it is just sink in. I mean, we could go through all of these fucking signatures in their comments, and they're all just... Okay, they're not all fucking retarded, but most of them fucking are. Most of them have just no logic behind them. They're just... They signed it because they were like, oh, poor furry. I'm gonna sign this because it seems nice.
Please let him in.
Yeah, that one. I was just looking at that one.
Oh, and then there's this one, Edward S. Calloway. Ha ha ha.
Whoa!
I'm down for this.
Whoa, wait, what?
I signed this. You didn't know that?
You fucking signed it? Oh god.
And here's why. I'm down for this just to see everyone else eat their words. I want to see this shit go down.
Oh my god, I'm looking at it right now. Signed October 7th, 2013. Oh, Jesus.
I would love to see him get let back on for Affinity and just do it all over again. Because I know that's what would happen.
Yeah, it is. It's just sad, honestly.
Yeah.
So, that's the Lupine Assassin petition we've got going.
You can probably Google it if you want to sign it. I heavily suggest signing it just simply because, like I said, I want to see him, fuck everyone again. I want to see Nolaski. I want to see Malleus. I want to see, Barry Goldberg. I want to see Wayne Deering. I want to see fucking Palmer Husky. I want to see all these people eat their goddamn words. And I hope that if he does get reinstated, that he steals money from each and every one of the 29 other people. There's a reason that some states have a 3-strike rule.
Which is?
You get 3 felonies, you get a life sentence.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think FA should have like the same policy. You get banned 3 times, you just get immediately fucked sideways instantly. Like what's their face? Chest hooves.
Yes.
His account's username is literally Chest Hooves' like 7th account. I'm just like, if I were a mod and I saw that, I would just immediately delete their account.
So,
But anyways, moving on from Lupine Assassin and the autism that was our last brain death, we've got a couple people in particular that just completely made an ass out of the fandom.
I mean, the fandom does it pretty well by itself, but these people just really went above and beyond the Call of Duty to just make sure that, nobody wants anything to do with this fandom. One of them, the first one that we're going to talk about, is... she's like the Paris Hilton of the furry world.
Yes, this is easily one of the worst.
We have Chew Fox. Josh, I know you really have, a bit of a bone to pick about this woman.
Yeah, I really fucking do. And just as an aside, Ed, something about your audio quality seems to have dropped off. I don't know what's up.
Probably. As long as if I can talk, I don't think it'll pick up on the Audacity because it's directly recording in. So I mean, as long as you can still understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I can. All right.
Okay, good.
But yeah, we have we have Chew Fox. Pretty generic name, but it's a name I'm guessing a lot of you have probably fucking heard before. Chew Fox basically screwed this fandom over by going on public television and practically saying that yes, furries like to dress up like animals and fuck each other through strategically placed holes.
And not just public television, mind you. She went on the Tyra Banks show, which is like Jerry Springer for women.
Yeah, that's a pretty accurate summary, actually. Um,
She is Jerry Springer for the people in Desperate Housewives.
yeah, that's pretty much Tyra Banks. That's actually putting it nicely, because it's fucking Tyra Banks. No, so she goes on, and Tyra Banks is doing a special for odd and strange sexual things. In this show, they've got four couples, and each one of these couples has some odd sexual interest. You know, obviously fursuit sex is one of them, and then you've got other stuff like monogamous couples. You know, people that hey, your wife can go out and fuck whoever she wants, and husband can go out and fuck whatever chick she wants, but they still consider each other a couple. You know, it's odd stuff like that. Um, not that I'm condemning it, but it is fucking odd.
It's outside the norm.
Yes, it's way outside the norm, and all four of these couples each represent a different aspect of some type of sexual relationship that is way outside the norm. And I find it funny because at the beginning of this show, they had the audience pick which couple was what, and
Yeah.
they fucking pegged the furry couple immediately.
Immediately, it was hilarious to watch. Like, they had to mull it over with the other two because they were pretty fairly normal looking, attractive couples. They they were like, which ones are the first? Oh, those. Them.
Yeah,
They're the first.
they immediately picked out the nerdy looking couple with the slightly heavy set woman. They immediately were like, those are the furries.
Slightly.
Oh yeah, no, she's heavy set. Like she's big, and
And of course, she has a twig for a boyfriend.
yeah, a skinny dude with like dark hair and big thick rim glasses. No, it took them a good deal of time to decide on all of the couples except for which one was furry. They nailed the fucking furries immediately. Um, it was actually kind of sad to watch. But
So, without going over too much of it, what were some of the highlights of that?
well, of course, Tyra Banks is Tyra Banks, and she's like a lizard in a woman's body, and so she just kind of like starts to starts to poke at them and ask some questions that anyone who finds out that someone likes to dress up and have sex would ask, like, okay, so you guys like to dress up as animals and have sex? And they're like, yeah. Like, okay,
Do you fuck
but isn't
actual
there a
animals?
costume down there, you know?
Oh god.
And Shoe Fox looks at her and was like, yes, but there are strategically placed holes. That
At
quote.
which time, at which point, the entire audience just goes, "Oh."
Yeah, everyone just kind of recoiled, and And then Tyra gives them this funny, like, black woman face. Just like, hey, what, nigga? And she asks a couple more questions, just prodding more at it, trying to get more information out of him. And the
I
guy,
like.
the guy has fucking brought his fursuit to this. And no, don't worry, he doesn't put it on. But he leans over behind the fucking bed that they're sitting on in their PJs and pulls out this white tiger fursuit head. And he's like, "This is my fursuit head. I mean, I spiritually, I'm like a white tiger, and all this typical like, not just furry, but super fucking furry type stuff." And the whole time you're watching this video, all you want to do is just like bite the pillow and cry. It's it's bad, but it doesn't end there. Ed, I'm sure you're familiar with what ended up getting her banned from FA. Her
Yeah.
T-shirt. Yeah, that's worth
Well,
mention.
because after this, of course, being Tyra Banks, Dragoneer is like, pedophilia in the fandom embarrassed me less than this did. And so, of course, Chew Fox, raises her "fuck you" banner. Um, I forget, I forget the exact details of how it happened, but I think basically people coming in and telling her to go fuck herself, there were so many of it that it actually crashed FA servers a couple times.
Yeah, that's what I
And
heard.
so, what happened after that?
Well, basically, the drama that resulted from the Tyra show ended up creating. It crashed FA not just once, but twice at least. And she was banned, I think, because of all the drama it was creating. And her page was closed. But she and a couple other people petitioned Dragoneer, kind of like uh, Alan. And
Alan.
hold on just one second. I'm going to add Peppermint just so he can listen in.
Okay.
So, kind of like his fucking icon. Kind of like Alan. The petition Dragoneer and FA to let them back on, and they did. And then she went to a convention. I can't remember which convention it was. I don't know if it was
It was either FAU or Anthrocon.
one of those. I don't remember the details, but it was a big name furry convention, and
Yeah.
she was at it, and Dragoneer himself walked past her, and she was wearing a shirt that basically said, "I crashed FA's servers twice, and all I got was this shitty T-shirt." And Dragoneer saw her wearing that and immediately just went up to his computer and just banned her again. And she's been gone ever since, just because she had the gall to wear that stupid fucking shirt. Yeah, it, it's an impressive story. I mean, going on fucking Tyra Banks and telling the world you fuck each other in animal costumes through strategically placed holes is one thing, but then wearing a shirt to a convention. I crashed FA servers twice and all I got was this t-shirt. Hoi, hoi, hoi. It's impressive.
Oh, man.
So is there anything else
That,
you had to add to that, Ed? Or
other than that, I don't really have anything. Let's move on. We've got, and these kind of go hand in hand, these next two. The next person we have, um, pretty well known as far as, television appearances. Not as well known as Chew Fox, though. We have a furry, goes by the name Kira. She appeared a while back on My Strange Addiction. Now, I know what you're thinking. Furry on My Strange Addiction? What could they possibly be addicted to? Gay furry porn?
That's
No.
a good guess, but no.
That is a very good guess. But
Guilty.
Kira was addicted to wearing her fursuit in public at all times.
And I really must stress that last part because simply having a thing for wearing a fursuit, okay, maybe that's a little bit odd, considering traditional values and traditional behavior, but it's not something that would end you up on a show with someone who has an addiction to eating mattress cushions, the couch cushions rather, because I kid you not, this constant fursuiter was in the exact same episode as someone who had
Who
an
ate couch
addiction
cushions.
with eating couch cushions. In fact, this woman that ate couch cushions stopped eating actual food. Um, so that just gives you a little bit of context as to how severe this addiction actually is. She can operate without her fursuit in public, like she has to go to school or whatnot. But she's in college now, and pretty much anytime she wants to go out for a night on the town, she's in suit. Um, and it just escalates from there.
She had a boyfriend at the time of the filming. I don't know if they're still together or not. But that part kind of amazed me.
That was interesting.
And it was so bad. Like, he wasn't a furry when he met her, was he?
No, actually, I just watched the episode itself, and in his own words, he was talking with her, and he was friends with her, kind of crushing on her, and that's when he found out about the furry thing. And in his own words, he thought it was a little weird at first, but like furry seems to tend to do, it worked its way into him as well.
Him.
Yeah,
It corrupted him utterly.
yeah, because she was like, "Let me make a fursuit for you too," and of course, what's he gonna say? Oh, fuck no, I don't want to do that. You're my girlfriend, but fuck you, I don't want a fursuit. So no, she made him a fursuit, and he's a black and green hyena, and she's a white and pink fox. And after she made it, he started to wear it some and started to get hooked like her and became a complete fur fag as well. So, like furry seems to tend to do, it corrupted him as well. So, it's not just a matter of this one chick who's too obsessed with fursuits. No, it reached its greasy fingers into another person's life as well. It's just impressive.
It reminds me of that comic you drew. Like, what the fuck is this? Remember that thing?
Oh,
Reaches out of the computer and just grabs him. What the fuck is happening to me?
yes.
That is an entirely accurate representation of what the fuck happens. to people.
That is exactly it. Oh God. Yeah, furry just tends to work that way.
God, there's a fair little deal to talk about as far as that goes, though. Like, her family was not all about that either.
No, no, her family was, as far as just the artistic outlet, they didn't have a problem with it. In fact, she paid for the materials for her first suit from her mother. Her mother funded it. It was like, hey, you're into arts and crafts. You're an artist. That's cool. But as time went on, that kind of changed because they realized this wasn't just a thing. This was an obsession, and the she spent all of her time in public in suit and not like a normal person. And it is kind of sad because at this point her father has passed, and their family kind of feels like that was the catalyst for all this. And I'm not a psychologist, but maybe there's something to that. Uh,
Could
but
be.
yeah, her uncle began to kind of take on the father figure role in her life, and he's just not supportive of this. Like you can tell the guy loves her, but they're sitting at this bowling alley, and their uncle's got a kid, her cousin, and her cousin is just like, of course, in love with these animal costumes that this girl and her boyfriend have. And her, her uncle is just like, nope, cousin is not going to get into that shit. Uh, and he sits down with her at one point. And he's just having this discussion with her, like, why do you gotta wear it all the time? And, there is, it's the typical like, well, I feel like myself when I'm in costume or whatever, and it, you can tell that it's turned into some type of oddball psychological need to have this thing covering their face. And to be honest, that's kind of sad, but I think what kills me about this is it's not just, someone with some emotional or psychological need for this. It's someone that actually went on television and represented furries. And of course, they're not someone who likes anthropomorphic art or has a fursuit and goes to conventions. No, it has to be someone who is obsessed with wearing their suit in public and just makes.
And that's exactly it. That's the thing that kind of kills me about, furries in the media nowadays. Back when it first got going and the media started, first started paying attention, there was the furries that wound up on it, especially if you look at, the notes people left as far as the CSI episode, they thought that they were helping the furry community, with helping show them that, hey, it's not all bad and everything, And then the media just kind of took it and twisted it.
Yeah.
I can forgive them when it was just first starting to take hold in media. By the time, shows like My Strange Addiction and Taboo, which we'll cover, and even Tyra Banks, by the time these shows rolled around, the media had proved itself time and time again that, hey, we're gonna fuck you. And I
I get
there's
I get what you're saying. I'll go ahead. You're gonna say something?
yeah, I was just gonna say, it's by this point, if you get in your head that, hey, I'm gonna show them that not all furries are that bad. Red flag.
And I was gonna say on the subject. I mean, think what you will of him, whether or not you like the guy or not. But the guy that basically the chairman of Anthrocon, Kage, he's an older guy, balding. You've probably seen him on YouTube videos and stuff if you're really into furry shit. And he goes on quite a few different rants, and you may think this, you may think that, but one of the rants that he went on, and has gone on multiple times, that I really think every fucking furry should hear, is his take on furries in the media. And he kind of touches on what you just touched on, Ed. It's the biggest goat fucks we get, as far as furries in the media, are people that see that fucking reporter standing there and are just like, oh, wow, here's a reporter trying to get information about Anthrocon. Well, here's my chance to set the record straight about furries. And they go up in front of the camera and say something like, oh, not all of us are perverts. It's probably only about like 5 to 10% of us that are actually sexual deviants.
And then that somehow, by the time it makes it to television, turns into, yeah, most of us are perverts. And there's only about 5-10% of us who are normal.
Dude, it doesn't even have to change like that. No, that could hit the fucking TV screens of every house in America, and immediately people aren't like, oh, so 90% of people that consider themselves furries are pretty normal. No, immediately people are like, wow, so like 10% of everyone that considers themselves a furry is a pervert and likes to fuck dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's immediately what it turns into. And yeah, stuff like this, My Strange Addiction, people going on these shows when they've got some obviously very left field type interest in the fandom that's not average, because I mean, I challenge you to think of someone either on FA or in person, that likes to spend 80% of their time in public in a suit. You'll have a hard time doing that. But that's what ends up getting fucking represented, and it just kills me because it gives us,
Exactly.
yeah, it gives such a terrible impression of the fandom. But speaking of terrible impressions of the fandom and being on public television,
This next guy.
yeah, I mean, Shoefox was bad. I mean, strategically placed holes has actually become just a common phrase in the fandom since.
Well, it was a common phrase before that, though.
Oh shit, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Way to make me feel uninformed, asshat. And then Lauren, aka
she
Kira,
she propelled that to fucking epic levels, though.
yeah, it. So those two were a
Then
pretty nasty stain on Furry as far as how public perception perceives us. Uh, but this guy, and this is a little bit more recent, uh,
yeah.
the show called
And in
Taboo.
fact, one of the people in our stream who's listening in lives near this guy, and I feel completely sorry for the motherfucker. I really do. Josh,
Yes.
who do we got?
What?
Who do we have?
Let me get a beer real quick and I'll tell you. Because I'm gonna need one for this.
Josh, who do we have next?
Next, we have a very interesting find that I came across this summer, actually. I was sitting in the living room with my parents, next to my father, on my laptop, and I saw an advertisement for a show called Taboo come on. And in it named a couple different oddball groups of people, including vampires and body. What's it called? Basically, people that get their body modified. And body modders, yes. Thank you, Ryan.
body modders.
Vampires, body modders, and then it mentioned furries. And I looked up in time to see someone in like I think it was a Dalmatian outfit being walked down the street by somebody with a leash on them in slow motion. And of course, it had this ironic, like patriotic music playing in the background. Uh,
Of course.
yeah, but the second it said furries, my heart just kind of sank. I looked up at the screen and saw that.
Because you knew what was coming.
I subtly looked over at my dad to see if he like looked at me funny or anything like that. Thank God he didn't. Um, but I was like, okay, I've got to see this episode then. So a couple days.
Wait, Josh. Quick question: does your family know you're furry?
No.
Ah, okay.
Neither my mother nor my father have any idea what a furry is, much less whether or not I am one.
Okay.
And I aim to keep it that way. If they find out someday, then they find out. I doubt they'll judge me, but still. Iron. Oh, we can get into that later because I'm curious now. But yeah. So they don't know. Anyways, I'm looking at this and I'm just like, so I have to see this episode now. Uh, I go upstairs a couple days later. I see an episode of Taboo come on, and I'm like, oh shit, that's right. So I go select it, and I set it to record the series. I finally see the furry one, and I know what you're probably thinking. Okay, they probably go to like some sort of fucking convention and find some weird ass motherfuckers running around in puppy play gear, or that one weirdo that's got like the skin tight spandex suit and the really creepy North Fur like prosthetics. Um, no, no, we could only wish they had done that. No, instead they go over Boomer the dog. Boomer the dog is an individual in his 30s. Um,
I thought he was in his 40s.
Is he in his 40s? He looked like he was in his like late 30s. I mean, Peppermint might be able to clear up.
Well, did the episode not say is like he spent most of his 44 years or some shit?
I cannot recall, to be honest with you. I just know that they said he was.
Either way, this man is old enough to know better.
This man is old enough to possibly be your father. You wouldn't know that, though, and I don't mean you, Ed, I mean our average viewer or listener. You wouldn't know that, though, because this guy lives in this house. It's a two-story house, 2 or 3 story, actually, and by himself. His parents don't. He doesn't live with his parents.
No shit.
He lives by him.
Well, no, he's employed. He's a computer programmer, if I'm not mistaken.
He's unemployed, Ed. He's got a degree in informatics or some type of computer related degree. He's got a degree. He's got what it would take to actually have a job, but he's unemployed and he lives in this house alone. I can only assume it's paid for by his parents because he's got no form of income, and no amount of people trying to help him out with handouts could actually pay for a house, much less the taxes. This house is filled with plushies and dog-related things. He has this house, but in his upstairs room, he also has a doghouse, and this is where he sleeps. He's got fairly long hair, and it's terribly greasy and scary. uh, but he does it up in these little bundles to either side, like little loops of hair on the left and right side of his head that are supposed to resemble dog ears. And
they don't look like it.
No, they look like
they look more like Sailor Moon's fucking.
They really fucking do. Yeah,
bastards.
you're right. Like that's what they kind of look like. But anyway, to him, they're dog ears, and he has one friend at least that comes by every now and then, and this guy knows how. Gosh, this guy knows how screwed up his friend is, but Boomer also has a fursuit. And when I say fursuit, I use that term sparingly, or liberally rather, because it looks more like a ghillie suit made out of shredded newspaper.
Yeah, it looks like something you would hang from a tree and hit with a stick.
Yeah, it really does. It's like he's walking around in a giant fucking pinata. It's
Uh, Pepper mentions that yes, he got a new fursuit, which he did. I've seen it. It looks a lot better. But this being brain death, and that actually being the better known of the two suits, we're going to talk about the pinata fursuit.
I'm not even entirely sure he got a new suit. If you look at
Oh, he did.
if you look at the pictures of this new suit, he doesn't actually call it a new suit. It looks like a somewhat life-size puppet rather than a suit, like the one I linked earlier, the border collie that was sitting on the chair.
Yeah.
It looked more like that than it looked like an actual suit. The bricks in comparison to the figure were just too big for me to actually believe it's a new suit. So I'm not even really certain that he has a new one. I think he might still have this paper newspaper ghillie suit that I'm talking about. And when I say it's a newspaper ghillie suit, I'm assuming that most of our listeners are familiar with what a ghillie suit is. For those of you that aren't, a ghillie suit is basically a netting type bodysuit covered in fake moss and vegetation to help someone who is a sniper blend in with the background. And generally, they just look really fucking shaggy, and there's no discernible human features on them. And the same applies to this fursuit that this guy has. The only discernible feature on it is the nose. There's no eyes. There's like no ears. There's no paws. There's no feet. There's no tail. It's just this big shaggy mess of fucking paper. At least it looks like paper. And I just
It's
there are no words to describe it other than fucking newspaper ghillie suit.
that's really it. It is. There was a picture that offended me personally that I came across. It is him in this newspaper ghillie suit, uh, holding a guitar and
Oh, yes.
attempting to play it in this ghillie suit, and I'm just like, please, please put that down, please.
But
No,
to be
no.
fair, it wasn't really a guitar, was it? It was.
No, it was a little cheap first act kind of thing. You know, the kind of thing you pick up at a pawn shop for $45. Um, but the idea was there. It didn't need
It's terrifying, and to top it off, this guy has his own website. Like,
the.
we should really link it in the
Yeah,
description. Uh, it's boomerthedog.net.
yeah.
And I just went there and, well, horror.
Autism,
Yes.
autism.
How I got on that Geo's Taboo show, I don't want to know, dude. But he
And see
also.
that goes back to what I was saying though. You look at shows like My Strange Addiction and Taboo, and you're like, how can you possibly think that being on a TV show like that would be a good idea in the first place?
I know, right? Like, uh, here's this chick. I'm taking Lauren or Kira as
Kira.
an example. Um, she seems like a relatively sane chick. Like she's not batshit crazy like fucking Boomer.
Boomer.
Um, not to say she's not fucking stupid, but she seems like she is sane at least. And you've got her on a show, the same episode, mind you, as someone who literally eats couch cushions. Like, how could you possibly think that was a good idea? It just drives it kills me. It just makes me question fucking human sanity. Just wow.
Yeah,
You
exactly. So,
you're a fucking college student with a fascination with dressing up like a fucking animal. Fucking converted your boyfriend too.
mm,
And as weird though that may be, I mean, did you ever stop to think about the fact that you're on a show that showcases people that have a sexual attraction to their car? Like, did you, did that thought not cross your mind? Did you ever think for a second that maybe this isn't the right show for me? Like, I don't know, dude. It's
and really, how fucking hard is it for you to go? You know, I think I'm good. You'll have to find someone else.
apparently it's fucking impossible. And that was another thing um, in his rant that Kage brought up. And he was just like, yeah, it's hard for me to say whether or not you should or shouldn't be that person that's on that show because maybe you're gonna be just like, person X that makes an ass out of the fandom, i.e. Lauren or Boomer. But maybe you aren't, and maybe the next person behind you is going to be that batshit insane furry. It seems like the way he described it seemed to make a lot of sense. It was like all of the sane people, all the people with common sense in the fandom, look at a show like Tyra Banks and just say,
No.
yeah, you're gonna try to make an ass out of the fandom, and I don't want anything to do with that. But
The batshit insane one will look at it and go, "This is my 15 minutes of fame." Yeah.
yes, exactly. That's that's it in a fucking nutshell. It's because of that, it makes me fearful. Well, not even fearful, just not very hopeful that the fandom will ever have a good name in the media because the same people are going to keep their mouths shut, and the batshit nuts are going to be the ones that jump into the limelight.
Well, I think that about covers Boomer.
There's not a whole lot more to say about Boomer. I mean, we're gonna link to his own website here in a minute. One of our friends, I guess this should be said, one of our friends, Peppermint Butthole. Interesting name he created for himself. But he lives in Pittsburgh, and he lives not far from Boomer, the fucking man who thinks he's a dog.
He lives close enough to where when he has to leave his house to go, certain places, he drives by Boomer's house.
And when he drives by Boomer's house, there have been a number of occasions where he has seen Boomer, met eye to eye, and Boomer will be literally standing at the window, barking at him. I can only imagine how terrifying such an experience might be. We've got him in the call now. We'll see what he says.
Pretty sure
He says,
Peppermint says, pretty sure a bit of my soul is sucked away each time. I have no doubts.
if there's such a thing as a soul, I am pretty sure that that is a 100% accurate statement. I mean, Jesus Christ, that has to suck. Like, one minute you're like, dude, I live in Pittsburgh, home of Anthrocon. I've got to go. And then the next minute you're just like, wait, Boomer the dog will probably go to Anthrocon. I can't do it. I just can't do it.
It's like a lot of the southeastern conventions are kind of ruined for me, just simply because, people I know, people that I hate, I know will be there.
That wouldn't even
And,
stop me. I'm
well, for the most part, it doesn't stop me either. But, it's still funny just to see them and watch them be like, it's you, fuck
But, God, I'd have to go to a convention to get that experience. I need to go to one sometime. One of these days. But, um, yeah, that's Boomer for you. He's definitely one of the most special people in our fandom. Um,
you.
Easily one of the most embarrassing that I've ever seen. Before we move on, I actually made a journal about this, and I just linked in the journal to. Actually, no, it wasn't a journal. It was a submission. I actually drew a little sketch, a little doodle, of my reaction to this individual and this show, and it's one of my funnier sketches, I would say. It's in my scraps if you ever feel compelled to look at it. But so we're gonna move off of Boomer now, and I'm gonna just go ahead since my mind has completely ceased to function, and I'm gonna hand it over to Ed now because he's got an interesting little ditty. This is not an example of someone who made a complete fuck out of the fandom on public television, but it is still an example of a couple people that completely fucked over the fandom in public and ruined what was a good charity, no less. This is pretty bad. This, as bad as Boomer was, as embarrassing as he is to even fucking discuss, and as shameful as Chew Fox was, and as sad as Lauren or Kira was, this, I won't say trumps them, but definitely just makes you face palm. What?
It gives them a run for their money, for sure.
It really does, and it makes you just embarrassed for this group of people that we consider our ilk.
So, I actually watched the drama around this particular incident unfold in real time. Um, this was something that just, when I saw it, I just immediately went, ugh, fucking furries, why would you do this? Uh, we've got the incident at the New Jersey barbecue, which, for those of you who are unfamiliar, the New Jersey barbecue was a biannual fundraiser for the Twin W First Aid Squad. Um, Basically, they would raise money for a EMT unit that was based out of that town. Um, I think two of the people in the EMT unit were furries. They were the ones who put it together. The At the 2012 New Jersey barbecue, there was a bit of an incident where two furries were caught simulating a sex act. There's been numerous, allegations and shit thrown around, like, oh, they were fucking on the hood of a car and all this other stuff. But basically, what it boiled down to was that these two furries were, and I'm quoting, engaged in inappropriate behavior. They were spotted outside the building in the middle of the day. These two furries thought it would be a good idea to simulate a sex act in the middle of the day at a highly populated
Get,
charity event.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
audibly, I can tell it's getting you frazzled right now.
And of course, because it wasn't just furries at this. There were quote unquote normal people at this event. You know, this was like a community outreach thing, pretty much. Um, there were families there. There were children at this event. Um, and so of course they got shut down for this. The money for that they raised for this was confiscated. And the two furries, the two EMT furries, almost lost their jobs over this because a pair of fucking fursuiters decided that they were going to be fucking furries and fuck in public. Like, I thought our local furries were embarrassing. No. That. Ooh. But I mean, literally, the mayor of the town, the police chief, got involved in this. This was like a legit fucking incident because of a pair of furries and their inability to, you know,
Show any kind of fucking civil restraint at all.
yeah, their inability to fucking understand social norms and fucking limitations. You know, I'm people who know me in person know that where most people draw the line, as to what's socially acceptable, I tend to draw mine a little bit further out than most.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I've been reprimanded from, coworkers and superiors for saying shit that, you know, yeah, I probably shouldn't have said.
But to you, it wasn't really that big a deal.
However, however, you will not catch me in fursuit, first of all, but you would never catch me or any member of this podcast really doing something that fucking ridiculous. It's just, ugh.
Like, I mean, okay, if I had a fursuit, I'd gladly fucking wear it. Would I bullshit around in it and do stupid stuff? Yeah, sure. Fucking that part of that comes from the fact that hey, it's a fursuit. My identity is kind of concealed. Like, oh, who was it that was causing a ruckus in your store? Some gray wolf dude with like upside down crosses on his face. Oh, okay. Well, we'll be sure to apprehend it. But Jesus Christ, I mean, there's just a certain line, like, and it to cause this much of an uproar, it wasn't just pussyfooting around. It was, it's one thing if like someone in a fursuit runs up to another fursuiter and makes like a pelvic thrust into them, just out of the blue. I mean, that might get you punched, but that won't get the fucking cops called on you. Um, but to have the level of attention that this event had it just you have to have an idea of just how far they went with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's
This type of thing has happened before at conventions. I can think of at least one convention in which people were literally in front of the hotel having sex, not in their
yeah.
car, but on their car, and they were in suit. And that was bad enough, but at the same time, it is a convention. It is a congregation of people, some of which are going to be fucking retarded. You can only expect that. But I think what kills me about this, and I mean, I'll let Ed expand on his opinions, but what kills me about this is that it wasn't a big convention. It wasn't some, mass gathering of furries in which you're guaranteed to have some fucking weirdos. It was just a local thing, and not only was it local, it was for a cause. It wasn't just for the sake of getting a
It
bunch of furries together and
it
having fun. It was for
it was a family function, a charity fundraiser. The only reason that the furries showed up in droves was because it was organized by a furry. That's, from what I can tell, that was literally the only reason that these people, that, furries showed up to this thing like that. Yeah, New Jersey Furbacue. That just kind of comes with the territory. It may have originally started out as a, little furry get together, but it evolved into a family gathering thing.
yeah, and it's
Um,
and a gathering that put a good face on the fandom. I mean, not to interrupt, I'll let you continue in just a second, but when you think of all these people that hear Furby and they see all these people in fursuits and they come to this event for a fundraiser and their experience with a furry is a good one.
there is the New Jersey website, nj.com, reported on this, and this is what kills me about it the most. You look at, and I'm going to go ahead and link this to you, Josh, because it's really got to be seen to be believed. All the comments are basically people like this first one. There is no proof that this incident happened. Idiot Americans, you mention the word sex and people freak out, not to mention that there were kids there, so of course they had to play the think of the children card. Someone needs to find the jackasses that made that claim and demand a public apology as well as admit that they lied.
Oh god, I'm trying to download this right now.
The entire comment section is made up of furries who are like, LOL, this is a lie. There's no proof on this. Furries couldn't possibly, do something like this. I like this one. That is the act of being a human and a living animal.
So should I read any of the article or just go to all the comments?
Just go to the comments. It basically gives a rundown.
There's no proof this incident happened. Idiot Americans, you mentioned the word sex freak out. I like how he says idiot Americans. Like,
Yeah.
are you American? Because if not, then you need to just fucking fuck the fuck off. This isn't your place to fucking. And then, oh my god, people wearing costumes, gasp, drinking. Dude, I've worn a costume and been drinking profusely, and I didn't have sex with someone on a fucking car. Jesus, these comments are.
Painful.
Yeah, it's
And
just a
they
bunch of.
all say essentially the same thing. That's what kills me.
It, wow. Wow. It's like these people think there's some sort of fucking conspiracy going on. Like, someone is just going to fucking make up a story about people in animal costumes having sex in public. Like, that is the act of being a human and a living animal. No. No.
I'm done with this. I can't do it anymore.
My face can take no more of this. It's like being beaten with a sledgehammer.
You know what I would rather do than, read that shit? I would rather do front page fun. I believe that would be a little less painful.
That would actually be a little bit less disturbing.
So, you know what? Front page fun. I found that.
What?
Yeah, what we're looking at. Oh man. It is a submission called Bam Bam Bam. It is a black cat. I'm going to assume it's a cat. It's a black feline looking thing. It's obviously very goth emo style. It's got, black and red hair, the striped shirt, the black canvas pants. Um it's yeah, the zipper pants. It's a female, by the way. I don't know what I don't know what that is on its face. I want to say it's a piercing, but because of the way it's drawn, I can't tell.
It looks like a piercing.
Yeah.
It's a heart piercing. It's like a
Oh, okay.
a download.
Um, it's got a tail. That thing. That big green bulb. It took me a minute to realize that this big green ball
Was its
with
tail?
the button, yeah, with the button eyes and the stupid ass grin is its tail. Um, the anatomy on this. There's so much wrong with this picture. Um, First off, the first thing you notice, or at least that I noticed, is that it's cross-eyed as fuck.
Yes.
Um, Now, I should mention that one reason I chose this picture is because the character in the picture is playing a guitar. They attempted to draw a Dean Razorback, um, and they failed miserably. Just everything about this bothers me. The tremolo has no bar. The fucking the neck twists around. It's weird. The headstock is completely wrong, and there's no tuning keys.
No, none. There's just little dots that the strings disappear into.
Yeah, there's no tuning keys. It's like nothing on this is straight. And this is a funny little thing I noticed. The strings are white lines. However, if you pay attention, the strings disappear between the two pickups.
Shit, they do, don't they? You over analytical asshole. Oh, God.
There's no guitar cable. There's no guitar strap, so I don't know how the hell she's holding this thing up. Because with that broken ass hand, she shouldn't be able to hold, a fucking pencil, let alone a 12-pound guitar. And, there's. The arms are just. I could go on for days about the anatomical flaws in this guitar. I really could.
But
Um,
you're a guitarist, so
yeah.
I don't know. I think
I
that
was just
the part that strikes me the most is the fact that the guitar, while the neck seems three-dimensional, the guitar's
body.
body itself is not.
Yeah.
There is no real sign of depth to be had. It's it's two-dimensional. And it just blends in with the neck, which is clearly supposed to have some depth there. It's glaring. But the hand, her 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 left hand, I just
Yeah. You can't get over that. It's first off, it's like twice as wide as it should be. With these short, stubby little sausage fingers that I can only assume have been broken by the mafia. And then, of course, the arms connected to them don't look. They look terrible. Um, they, ooh, they're a lot shorter than they need to be. You can tell with the right arm that they tried to depict it, bent backwards. As someone who was holding a guitar pick would have their arm. However, between the striped shirt and their shading and everything, it becomes immediately apparent that they failed miserably at that. Like, I don't see any lines dictating, where that bend would be. So it ends up looking like, oh God. How would you describe that arm, Josh?
I really can't describe it, to be honest with you. It's I mean, to describe it, I would have to get completely into the anatomy of everything, including the shoulder, and
Yeah.
yeah, but what you were saying does make some sense. It would help if there was some kind of line defining where the fold occurs and illustrating some wrinkles in the fabric, but no, it's just it looks like it's two-dimensional, and like their right arm is relatively normal shaped with the exception of the mongoloid hand, and that their left the arm on their left is like, well, Tywin Lannister's arm.
It looks like they're thalidomide baby. The ears. I want to talk about these ears for a minute.
I mean, those giant mongoloid ass motherfucking triangles on their head.
Yeah. Uh, Now I understand that because I can't really tell what species this is. It may actually be a trait of their species to have obscenely thick ears. But, like Josh said, it's yeah. Like the left ear comes a lot further out. Like, okay, one thing about, creating your own species that really kind of bugs me. People tend to take that as, them saying, okay, well, since I'm creating my own species, I can do whatever the fuck I want. Yes, to a degree. There are certain anatomical truths that, apply to animals across the board. For instance, you're not gonna see something with, both lungs and fucking gills. Um, you know, the feet and legs are gonna essentially work the same way across the board. Fingers work essentially the same way across the board. You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I mean,
Ears are one of those things. Um, I've never really seen a species where the ear comes way the fuck out from the head, like off to the sides. And at least in that triangle formation, like a feline, which is what these ears look like.
You see, but at this point, what you're doing is basically it's not so much that it's the species design, it's just their art style, and it's a flaw I see in a lot of fucking furry art. Furries, as a rule, cannot fucking draw different styles of ears because everything has wolf ears or fox ears. And they also cannot fucking draw tails because everything that is ever fucking drawn is a Star Fox character and has a nice, fluffy, pointed little tail. Like, like I, I don't know. I don't know if furries have ever seen animals before, but if you want to know what an animal's tail looks like, don't look at fucking Star Fox. They're not these like perfectly pointed little tails. They're fucking bushy ass, mangy looking things that just hang off the critter's backside. And that's one of my pet peeves with furry stuff is just the way they fucking cannot draw ears or tails to begin with. It's just terrible. And this is a prime example of it. Like the ear starts probably about right in the top of the skull and comes all the way down to basically their lip line.
Their jaw, yeah.
Yeah.
It comes down to like the hinge of their jaw almost. And of course, it takes this big outward sweep to do it. Um, which, all that aside, it's still better than the right ear, which isn't even attached to the fucking head.
It's just kind of hanging there.
It's just floating above their head. I still can't get over that cross-eyed expression. It's like they're trying to focus on the weird ass green that is in front of them. There's a lot of green in this picture.
There is. I love the rainbow in the background too, because what's furry without rainbows? Yay, gay.
Exactly. So this is just ugh, fucking. The guitar is what made me have to share it, but overall, it's a pretty bad picture.
No, I really encourage you to check out their profile and look at their profile ID.
Uh, what are we doing here? Oh, this person. Right. Age 15. Well. Oh, they are photographers, so they didn't draw this, someone else did. Gotcha. Still. Oh, single as in forever alone.
They're
Right.
19 apparently.
No, they are 15. It says 15. Age 15. On their profile, at least.
On their reference, it says they're 19. Maybe that's just the character. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just the character, honestly. Well, that way it can be involved in sexual situations. Though I don't know how it would
Work.
wind up in a sexual situation. Anyone who would bang that is either desperate or just loves fucking crazy. I'm done with that. Josh, do you have any what have you found?
This one was just scary. Like fucking
Um what?
yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that is
creepy as shit.
Yeah, and like the bad part is I can't even say it's poorly drawn. It's literally pure content that makes this.
um, that scene in the top right is it's basically for those of you listening, um, done by
For
Mr.
those playing the home game,
Done by Mr. Smile 200. The description is I don't know anymore, and that's a pretty apt description because
yeah.
the title is Rainbow Horror Lesbian Thing, and it is I think it's Rainbow Dash eating out who is that
Fluttershy, I think.
Fluttershy. And the main scene is just Fluttershy, like a head-on view with Rainbow Dash behind her, and you can't really see Rainbow Dash's head. But it's
But
kind
I
of
mean, it's very, very obvious what is going on.
yeah, and it's pretty dark, and Fluttershy has her eyes shut. And then in the top right, there's just this kind of it's separated by
There's a detailed. There's a detail, so you know exactly what's going on.
and it is Fluttershy's vagina and Rainbow Dash like just with her muzzle kind of in it and this dark just come all over Rainbow Dash's muzzle and Rainbow Dash is kind of like grinning slightly and Fluttershy looks like she's about to cry. It's just really dark and really fucking creepy and there are no words. There is only no.
No, I'm closing that. I'm done with it. I can't look at it. Oh, I close it, and of course there are Pokemon in
Oh,
here.
look at that instead. That was another nice Halloween theme thing.
Oh God, what do we got? Zombie Fluttershy. There's a lot of pony porn for you here. Oh,
Yeah, just have a look at that.
okay. Well, that's a thing. You know what? Hold up. One sec. I think. Yep, that can't be Fluttershy because there are no wings. So
Oh, there's wings. What are you talking about? Isn't
in the rainbow horror lesbian thing, I had to go back and double check, but they didn't draw wings on her, so I
wings
don't know
aren't
who that is.
sexy?
Wings would block the view.
Yeah, I,
This zombie Fluttershy thing is just creepy, though.
it's a bucket of nope. It's like a Fluttershy, I guess. And then I mean, the legs are horribly tacked into the middle and the lower portion of it. It's got black empty sockets for eyes, and of course the pink hair swooped over a couple blue spots that I don't even know what they are. And then what looks like black fucking string sewn, trying to sew their mouth shut, and their mouth is gaping open, and the wings, just it, it's it's just unpleasant to view. There's no other way to describe it. But
I'm done. We
I,
don't have
to get away from that tab, I clicked a random one, and it pulled up an image result for what is basically a Germanic Templar with like this big ass tall axe in his hands, and he's just staring with like this deadpan look. And that's just pretty much a good summary of my response to that. Just pick that axe up and have at it, boy. That was
Yep.
terrifying.
And the worst part about it is, we don't really have an artist to spotlight on this one. We came into this so unprepared, it's not even funny. So we literally get to end the podcast on
This.
this. Yeah. So, you know what? Varg Vickers. I love it. Every time you post that, fucking Pepper's gonna be like, fucking Varg.
Oh my god. That's the work on the regular. Oh my
Fucking
god.
Peppermint, you're our artist spotlight. Jesus Christ.
Yes, yes, let's spotlight Peppermint. He's the shit. We could do Iron or Peppermint. Well, no, the Varg jokes. It's gotta be Peppermint.
It's gotta be Peppermint. Um, so, our artist spotlight is Peppermint Butthole simply because he has to deal with fucking
Boomer the dog.
bullshit.
Peppermint Butthole is not recording with us, but he's been in the comments tonight. And like I mentioned before, he lives in what is it, Pittsburgh? Pittsburgh.
Yep.
And that would be the same place where Boomer the dog lives. And Peppermint lives so close to Boomer the fucking dog that regularly on the way back from band practice, he will see the motherfucker. And not just that, but see him barking at him and acknowledging his presence. So it's not just this absent, there is no real interaction. I just noticed this individual. No, there is an actual interaction there that this poor individual has to go through. It also turns out that Peppermint is a good friend and a musician, and a fan of heavy metal. So
Yes, he and I have talked music quite a few times. It's fun.
and
Uh,
shit, you've talked about it more than I have. But he also happens to be an artist. Uh, so we're going to spotlight him because he does some, ironically, rather fucking adorable art. And
yes. I love his featured submission right now. Peppermint Butthole's persona is a deer.
it's a
Um,
it's a mix. I believe
yeah,
it's primarily a deer, but you're getting too technical for furries.
yeah, exactly. Um, but it's his persona with a bunch of like organs and body parts stuck on his antlers, and he's just got this big, wide, happy grin on his face as he looks at the body parts, and it's adorable. It's like it's a gory, bloody as fuck picture, but it's adorable in the fucking best way possible.
Oh yeah, yeah, that that one's pretty good. Let's see, there was one in particular that I just fucking loved. It was
I love how one of his comments on that, particular picture that I mentioned is, "This is why it may not be too good of an idea for me to jump into the mosh pits at metal concerts." And that just made me giggle inside.
Let's see, where was Geez, there's one I wanted to find. God damn it.
He is a member of less tolerant furs, which is probably why he gets along with us so fucking well.
Yes. I need to add that to my page. Oh my
Yes,
god.
I'm debating putting that on the fucking BrainDeath page.
You should. I think I think this is probably my favorite piece that he's done. That's glorious. We'll link to him in the description, but
That is glorious.
just for the record, in case you're some asshole that doesn't go check out our featured artist, it's basically just like this space background with his character in feral form with this plague look on his face, just like whirling across the fucking picture, just like from right to left, just spinning. It's great. I remember the first time I saw that. The first time I saw that, I was sitting in a public restroom at IU, and I was on my cell phone, and so I finally downloaded it, and it was sitting there loading and stuff. The GIF finally loaded all the way, and it was just this fucking deer twirling across space. And I sat there on the fucking stall and just started laughing in fucking public. I was like, oh god.
Oh, I love it.
I can't not look at it. I have to hit the back button. I'm just gonna keep staring.
Uh,
Oh god.
Public service announcement. That's glorious. Did you see that one, Josh?
Which one is it? Public service announcement?
It's titled Public Service Announcement. It's got Furry, which is like this wolf dude, just regular drawn wolf dude. It's got Gay Furry. Now the wolf dude is shirtless with a necklace and a really gay haircut, and he's blushing. And then we have Fur Fag, which is the same thing except with rainbow piercings, a halo, and wings, and a fucking dildo in its mouth.
Oh yes, I think that's actually the first picture I ever saw that he did. I think that's kind of the reason I watched him. Yeah, that's it. Yes. Oh my god, this one is so gold. Well, considering the fact that we've covered all the subjects we need to cover and had our front page fun, which was more like front page terror.
No.
And then spotlighted a pretty damn good artist that
Yeah,
should have
if
thought of
you
sooner.
like cute, stylized, cartoony stuff, you definitely need to check the dude out. The Peppermint Butthole is his FA.
And if anything, his stuff will give you a good laugh because it's pretty great. I love it.
His picture ID, his profile ID, we have to mention that. There is, amongst our friends, this trend going around on Skype. Animals with anime eyes.
Yes.
And he jumped on the bandwagon with us. And so his profile ID is a deer with kawaii blushing anime eyes on it, and it is the funniest fucking thing.
He fucking picked this picture of this deer, and the deer is facing to the right, and its head is turned a little bit to the left, and it's got its right front leg lifted just a little bit in this shy looking kind of pose, and it's got these kawaii ass fucking anime eyes with these little pink blushes. It's just fucking gold. I wish mine was half as funny as that. I was pretty uncreative with
Well,
mine.
you have the dead eyes now, so, you broke the trend, you ass.
Oh,
But
yes.
to be fair, if there was a picture that would break the trend, it's that one. We'll have to mention that guy in a podcast.
Someday he'll probably be our intro to one of our podcasts at some point.
Yeah, something. Jesus Christ. So, don't talk to the media. Check out Peppermint Butthole. Don't get raped. This has been Brain Death. Have a good night.
Take care, all.
If your life depended on me, I don't know if I would save you. I would rather see the sadness in your eyes. As I
Big, McLarge, huge. It is done.